The Galactic Council chamber had never fallen so silent. Seated beneath the towering spires of crystalline blue and gold, delegates of 700 species murmured in ancient dialects until the human delegation entered. Then the whispers died. President Sana Rivara stepped forward, flanked by no entourage, her footsteps alone echoing across the obsidian floor. Her expression was unreadable. Her suit, plain. No jewelry. No flag. Just purpose. She stopped at the center dais, directly beneath the council's central spire, a structure that, for 1,000 years, had symbolized unity through superiority. Now, a single voice threatened to shake it. High Lord Virex Salyuan leaned forward, pale eyes narrowing. His serpentine frame coiled tighter around the pedestal. President Rivara, he said smoothly, Earth was not invited to speak today. This session concerns trade discrepancies in the mid-rim. Sana didn't blink. Then why, she said, voice calm and cold, did your warships breach our outer system 6 weeks ago and destroy a civilian outpost in the Andromeda Drift? A ripple moved through the hall. Several species turned their gaze toward Salyuan. Others stared at the lone human woman as though she'd grown wings, or horns. Salyuan smirked, his voice a velvet coil. The incident was deemed a navigational malfunction. The Draken envoy explained this. Rivara's gaze was sharp. The Draken envoy is dead. Vaporized with our station. With a subtle flick of her wrist, she activated the council's central display. A hologram blinked into life above the chamber. The footage was silent at first. Then, flashes. A peaceful station orbiting a pale moon. Children playing in simulated gravity rings. A gardener watering synthetics. Then, without warning, a piercing lance of plasma tore the moon's atmosphere. Screams. Shattered bulkheads. Disintegrated bodies. Sana Rivara didn't look away. But many in the chamber did. When the feed ended, no one spoke for 7 full seconds. The silence was suffocating. Salyuan broke it with a hollow chuckle. You bring us dramatized footage, President. A fabrication? No, she said. Unedited sensor data. We decrypted your signatures. Cross-referenced council vessels. That ship belonged to your fleet. Gasps. Rivara stepped closer to the podium. You attacked a peaceful colony without cause. You called it an accident. But we both know it wasn't. An insectoid delegate from Jalten chirped nervously, surely Earth understands the complexity of border disputes. Misfires happen. Autonomies glitch. Sana's voice sharpened. It wasn't a glitch. It was authorization code VX Prime. That's High Lord Salyuan's override signature. Eyes turned. Salyuan's nostrils flared. You overstep. No, she said. I step exactly where your missiles landed, on our children. The entire chamber tensed. Even the Cytherian delegates, long known for neutrality, leaned forward now. Salyuan hissed. Humanity has no place in these chambers. You're infants in a galaxy of elders. We are infants, Sana said. Infants you tried to smother in their crib. Her tone never rose. But every word carried weight. Another delegate, a crystalline entity from Tharn VA, shifted awkwardly. What is it you want, President? Rivara looked at him. Truth. And for the Council to acknowledge what it's been too cowardly to admit, one of its own waged undeclared war. The chamber buzzed with discomfort. Salyuan's voice turned razor-sharp. Careful, Terran. This chamber thrives on protocol. And Earth thrives on justice, Sana replied. She paused, letting the words settle. Then she leaned forward, and her next words came slowly, deliberately. You attacked our home. That was when the stillness became suffocation. Every species present, prey and predator, organic and synthetic, seemed to recoil at the finality of those words. It wasn't just an accusation. It was a statement of war. But Sana didn't unsheath weapons or demand blood. She simply stood, unmoving, her calm more terrifying than any army. Salyuan attempted recovery. You claim righteousness, yet Earth remains unregistered in Council core systems. Your voice carries no weight. Sanaa didn't flinch. Then why is everyone listening? She gestured once more. Another hologram activated, encrypted Council communications intercepted from a hidden relay. They showed Salyuan's authorization orders. Audio. Visual. Confirmed timestamps. The chamber roared to life. Delegates whispered. Screens lit up. Clarity replaced doubt. Sanaa closed her hands into fists. We didn't come here for vengeance. We came here because if this chamber still stands for any law, any semblance of order, then the ones who break it must be held accountable. Or none of you will stand when the next fire spreads. She turned away, walking down the stairs as silence returned. Before exiting, she paused. You dismissed us as primitives. But know this, humanity remembers. Every name. Every cry. Every silence. And then she left the chamber, not in rage, but in certainty. Behind her, the Galactic Council sat stunned, realizing for the first time that humanity was no longer begging for a seat at the table. They were building their own table, and the galaxy might not be ready for it. The next session began under tighter security. Council guards with pulse swords lined the walls. Delegates entered with subdued voices and darting eyes. For the first time in a century, Valterian felt nervous. President Sanaa Rivara arrived precisely on time. No entourage. No armor. Just the same quiet resolve that had shaken the chamber yesterday. As she stepped onto the dais, a single holodisc rested in her palm. It glowed dim blue, low power. Deliberate. Understated. But everyone stared at it like it might detonate. High Lord Virek Salyuan was already present. His coils were wound tighter today. His eyes glinted with anger, not arrogance. Madam President, he began smoothly, you were granted an opportunity to address the Council. Do not mistake it for a privilege that can be abused. Sanaa didn't respond. She simply placed the holodisc on the central console and tapped it once. A shimmer filled the chamber. Then came the voices. VX Prime Code authenticated. Order confirmed. Eliminate Andromeda Node. Colonial expansion cannot be tolerated. Human growth must be managed. There was no mistaking Salyuan's voice in the recordings. A stunned hush gripped the chamber. Delegates turned to him. Some with disbelief. Others with poorly masked horror. Salyuan snarled. Fabrication. Artificial mimicry. It's not, Sanaa interrupted, finally speaking. The voice print matches Council registry standards. Verified by 2 neutral species labs. You authorized the attack. The Tharn VA delegate shifted in their crystalline seat. President Rivara, how did you obtain this? Sanaa's gaze didn't shift. Earth has eyes, just as you do. We simply stopped pretending we didn't. Salyuan slammed the talon on his console. You spied on Council channels? No, she said. We listened. You never cared who could hear. You assumed we were beneath understanding. Gasps spread. The delegation from the Vayari, longtime Council loyalists, whispered among themselves. A representative from the Marian Compact stood. Her voice trembled. High Lord Salyuan, is this true? Salyuan didn't answer. Instead, he turned to Sanaa with venom. You claim moral high ground while undermining Council protocol. Earth remains a rogue entity, no charter, no core status, no voice. Sanaa remained steady. Then explain why your Council was negotiating with us 6 months ago in secret. That stung. Screens lit up again, this time showing grainy security footage. A diplomatic vessel, coded Council Black, docking at Earth's orbital station. Unregistered meetings. Classified discussions. Sanaa continued, you knew we were rising. You knew we couldn't be ignored. So you tried to contain us. When we wouldn't kneel, you lit the fire. Delegates murmured. Some began to tap furiously on their consoles. Internal networks buzzed as quiet alliances recalibrated. Salyuan's claws dug into the railing. You overstep your station. Sana turned toward him fully now. No, she said, louder this time. I speak for a world that mourned 237 souls. I speak for children who never made it to orbit. For farmers whose fields were ash. For engineers whose bones are now part of the vacuum. The emotion in her voice wasn't theatrical. It was surgical, controlled, sharp, and deliberate. A Cytherian counselor finally stood. High Lord Salyuan, this council demands clarity. Are these accusations baseless or legitimate? Salyuan opened his mouth, but before words formed, the chamber doors swung open. A security officer rushed in. He was Dromekian, neutral, efficient, and rarely flustered. He held up a datapad. Council members, he said. An anonymous drop just hit the council's secure cloud. Origin, human system, encrypted with trinary failsafes. Contents, match the president's evidence. Full logs. No tampering detected. He handed it off to the Cytherian. A long silence. Then, from the far side of the chamber, a delegate from the Annex Coalition, a species that had long ignored Earth, stood slowly. We believed humans were loud, he said. Impulsive. Primitive. He paused. But I see now. You were just listening. President Rivara didn't smile. She didn't nod. She waited. Salyuan turned desperate. You would trust a child race over 1,000 cycles of order? No, said the crystalline Tharnva. We would trust truth over fear. Another voice joined. This time from the Jalten. You violated the Articles of Peace, Salyuan. A covert strike on a non-core civilization. Unprovoked. Unvoted. A vote was requested. Immediate. Emergency tribunal. Salyuan hissed, thrashed, protested, but it was too late. Protocol he once used as a shield now became his noose. Sana turned to leave. Where are you going? Asked the Vayari envoy. She paused. Earth will not beg for justice. You either deliver it, or prove you never had it. She walked away. As the doors closed behind her, she heard the final words echo from inside. Motion passed. High Lord Salyuan to stand trial. In the hallway, her aide met her. Madam President, he whispered, wide-eyed. You did it. Sana exhaled slowly. Her posture finally loosened. No, she said quietly. I opened the door. Now let's see who follows us through it. Far above, Earth's fleet remained in silent orbit over Veltarion, engines off, weapons sheathed. But everyone in the council now understood. Humanity didn't come to start a war. They came to show they were ready for peace, only if peace included justice. Outside Veltarion's high orbit, Earth's fleet remained still. No threat. No hails. No broadcasts. Just presence. 72 Terran ships in perfect formation. Sleek. Angular. Silent. Built for war, but unmoving. It wasn't a siege. It was a reminder. In the council chamber, tension rippled like static. The tribunal against Salyuan had begun, swift, orderly, by the code. But everyone knew it wasn't over. Earth had exposed the truth, but now the galaxy had to decide what to do with it. President Sana Rivara returned not to accuse, but to negotiate. She entered again without preamble. This time, she was met not with derision, but unease. Reverence. Caution. Salyuan wasn't at the dais. He sat in a containment sphere near the rear, arms bound in luminous restraints, his once flawless robes now dull and creased. The Cytherian arbiter rose. President Rivara, the council recognizes you for your closing position. Sana scanned the room. Gone were the amused smirks. In their place, folded hands, stiff jaws, attentive eyes. She stepped forward. "We didn't come here to bring down a leader," she began. "We came here because no one, no species, no system, should be able to erase life and call it protocol." The silence was thicker now. "You speak of justice," said a Mirian delegate, "but the presence of your fleet outside Valterian speaks louder." "Is that diplomacy?" Sana nodded. "Yes. It is." There was a murmur of disbelief. She explained, voice measured, "Every one of those ships has orders not to fire. Not even to scan. Their shields are down. They are here because your system is known to hide its sins behind closed doors. We brought witnesses." The delegate from the Vayari, who had once dismissed Earth, leaned forward. "And if the Council had refused your accusations?" Sana answered simply, "We would have left. And made it known. Not with weapons. With truth. Broadcast across every system willing to hear it." There it was again, the strength not of war, but of resolve. An Annex representative stood. "Earth is young. Dangerous, perhaps. But deliberate. What do you want now?" Sana didn't hesitate. "3 things." She raised a hand. 1. Formal apology from the Council. Public. Transparent. Acknowledge what was done. 2. Compensation, not just credits. Infrastructure. Assistance for displaced families. Medical support for survivors. And 3, she paused, eyes sweeping the room, core status. Full. A silence heavier than any before followed. Someone gasped. A core vote meant Earth would no longer be an observer, it would be a decision-maker. Equal. The Tharn VA delegate folded her crystalline fingers. "That's unprecedented. Unjustified," hissed a Draken, whose own fleet had once burned Earth's atmosphere 2 centuries ago. "You are not ready." Sana turned to him. "You said the same when we joined trade routes. When we mastered wormhole navigation. When we cracked Council encryption without firing a shot." He scowled. She continued. "We've learned. We've adapted. But we haven't forgotten. You call us unpredictable. Yet we're the only species here who brought truth instead of blood." Someone clapped. Soft. Deliberate. One delegate from the Harn Collective. Then another. And another. Within seconds, half the chamber rose in agreement. The vote was called. Digital glyphs lit up on the Council wall. One by one, accepted. Accepted. Neutral. Accepted. Salyuan watched from behind his prison glass. His lips curled with disbelief. Sana didn't look at him. She looked at the Council. "Don't elevate us out of pity. Don't fear us into compliance. Recognize that we've earned our place, not by conquest, but by refusing to be erased." The Arbiter stood again. "All 3 motions pass. Earth is to be formally inducted. Reparations to be scheduled. Public statement issued within 1 cycle." There were no cheers. Only stillness. A shift. Permanent. Sana nodded once. But as she turned, a voice broke the moment. It came from Salyuan. "You think this ends with your seat at our table?" His voice was venom. "You think exposure makes you righteous? You're still alone." She turned to him. "No," she said. "We're just first." And with that, she walked out, again, not triumphant, but resolute. Outside the chamber, her chief envoy waited. "Madam President. The fleet is requesting confirmation. Do they stand down?" "Tell them yes," she said. "And thank them. They won this without a single shot." As she stepped outside into Valterian's light, alien civilians watched her in silence. A child with violet skin waved. She paused. Waved back. Because the message wasn't just for the powerful. It was for those who always thought Earth would break under pressure. But Earth had bent. Then stood. Now it spoke. And for once, the galaxy listened. The council plaza stood quiet. Where once alien delegates marched beneath banners of legacy and control, now reporters from every corner of the galaxy hovered near the gates. Drones floated silently overhead. Broadcasts translated the event into hundreds of languages. Earth's emblem, an open palm against a ring of stars, fluttered beside the ancient seals of the founding species. Inside, President Sana Rivera didn't speak. She sat in a modest seat, no different from the others, yet all eyes remained on her. The official statement had been read aloud moments before. By majority vote, Earth is hereby recognized as a core civilization, with full rights, privileges, and protections under the Galactic Council Charter. Reparations shall be made to the unified Terran Republic. High Lord Saluan is hereby found guilty of unauthorized military aggression, and is stripped of title, power, and position, effective immediately. The words had rung clear. But justice, real justice, wasn't in declarations. It came in what followed. A chime echoed. The Cytherian arbiter stood. There is one final matter. President Rivera, do you wish to deliver a closing statement? Sana rose slowly. She walked to the center. No datapads. No speech files. Just memory. When I was a child, she began, I watched an orbital sunrise with my father. He told me the stars held more than beauty, that they held secrets. She scanned the chamber. I didn't know one of those secrets would be how afraid the galaxy is, of honesty. A pause. Measured. Intentional. We were never supposed to sit in this chamber. You taught each other that Earth was too violent. Too unpredictable. Too emotional. She took another step forward. And maybe we are. A murmur rippled through the delegates. But it was emotion that stopped us from becoming monsters when your ships erased our colony. It was emotion that made us collect the ashes. Name the victims. Bury the children. She met the eyes of a Marian elder. It was emotion that made us want justice without revenge. A Draken leaned forward, curious. And what will Earth do now? With its seat. Its voice. Sana gave a quiet, tired smile. We'll listen. The answer landed heavier than a threat. She continued, we don't want empires. We don't want tribute. We want respect. And in return, we offer the same. But understand this, if another hand rises against Earth again, we won't be asking for permission to defend ourselves. No one interrupted. She turned slightly. You may believe this day is about Earth winning something. It isn't. It's about all of you realizing we're not here to play your games. We're here to change them. With that, she stepped down. The chamber stood in silence. Not stunned. Not outraged. Respectful. Hours later, Sana stood alone beneath the memorial dome. It was a structure built hastily, but with care. In the center, a simple stone block, carved with the names of every soul lost in the Andromeda Drift outpost. No flags. No symbols. Just names. She rested her hand on it. I promised them the truth, she whispered. Her aide approached from behind, but didn't interrupt. They thought we were going to declare war, he finally said. She nodded. Because that's what they would have done. He hesitated. Did we do the right thing? She looked up at the stars. We did what humans do best, she said. We endured. Outside, across dozens of worlds, Earth's story spread. Not as propaganda. Not as fearmongering. As a moment. A warning to those who believed power meant immunity. And a light for those who had none. Somewhere in the mid-rim sectors, a small planet long considered non-viable due to its rebellious locals received an encrypted broadcast. It contained only a quote. We remembered our dead. And we made their names louder than your silence. President Sana Rivera. That message spread faster than warships. It didn't destroy walls. It made them irrelevant. Back on Earth, schoolchildren watched a holovid replay of the tribunal. Not for entertainment, but as curriculum. In one quiet classroom, a girl named Isla turned to her friend. She didn't even shout, Isla said. She just made them listen. Her teacher smiled. That's what strength looks like. Elsewhere, in a private detention facility buried beneath council soil, Salyuan sat alone. His cell was pure silence, no visitors, no screens. But one message was allowed in. No sender. Just a line of text projected on his wall. You were wrong. The children did survive. Just not the way you expected. He looked away. For the first time in centuries, he had nothing to say. The war never came. Because Earth had already fought it. Not with ships. But with voice, patience, and relentless memory. And across the stars, civilizations whispered a new warning. Never attack what you don't understand. Never underestimate a world that buries its dead by name. And never, ever, test Earth twice.